Some basic facts about the Earth. The Earth is spherical, as are all other planets and suns that we know of. The Earth is 26,000 miles in circumference and spins on its axis. If you are sitting in your recliner, on or near the equator, you are riding on a merry-go-round speeding along at just over 1,000 miles per hour. The Earth is 93 million miles from the Sun and revolves around the Sun. One complete revolution around the Sun takes 1 year. As we ride the Earth, making its course around the Sun, we are flying through space at the dizzying speed of 67,000 miles per hour. Now consider some descriptions of Earth's dynamics from the Bible.
The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved.
The world is firmly established. It cannot be moved.
Then the Lord spoke to Job out of the storm. He said,
"Who is this that obscures my plans with words without knowledge? Prepare to defend yourself. I will question you, and you shall answer me. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundation? Tell me, if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across it? On what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone while the morning stars sang together?"
The Earth has footings, a foundation, a cornerstone.
From the one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth.
And all the peoples of the earth will mourn. They will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heavens to the other.
So the earth and heaven have ends.
Which commandeth the sun, and it riseth not, and sealeth up the stars.
Notice that God directed his command at the sun, which we know does not rise, it only appears so.
Then spake Joshua to the Lord in the day when the Lord delivered up the Amorites before the children of Israel. And he said in the sight of Israel, "Sun, stand thou still upon Gibeon, and thou moon in the valley of Ajalon." And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed, until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. Is not this written in the book? So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven, and hasted not to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel.
Again, the command was directed at the sun, but the sun does not move in relation to the earth. It was always standing still. If you are driving along the highway and you want the scenery to stand still, you have to stop your car. It just doesn't work any other way.
I looked, and there before me stood a tree in the middle of the land. Its height was enormous. The tree grew large and strong, and its top touched the sky. It was visible to the ends of the earth.
The author of Daniel thought the earth was flat.
The devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world.
People of that time did not know how huge the earth is. They were only aware of the nations around them. This is the real Earth as seen from space. their limited means of travel, it is understandable how the vastness and shape of the earth would be unknown to the people of this region.
Have you ever given orders to the morning or shown the dawn its place, that it might take the earth by the edges and shake the wicked out of it?
Taking the earth by the ends and shaking it like a blanket might seem possible if you thought the earth was flat. In the Bible, Jude 1, verses 14 and 15 quotes from the Jewish first book of Enoch, written approximately in the 1st century BC. The book of Enoch was found in the caves of Qumran, along with the other Dead Sea Scrolls. It was obviously well known among the 1st century Christians. It is quoted here to further demonstrate how the pre-scientific people of the time misunderstood the dynamics of the earth and heavens.
I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he has furnished them with the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth, and the firmament of heaven. These are the pillars of heaven. I saw at the end of the earth the firmament of heaven above. And from thence I went to the ends of the earth, and saw there great beasts, the ones differing from the other. And to the east of those beasts I saw the ends of the earth, whereon the heavens rest, and the portals of the heaven open. And I saw how the stars of heaven come forth. And from thence I went to the east to the ends of the heaven, and saw there 3 eastern portals of heaven open, and 3 small portals above them. Through each of these small portals pass the stars of heaven, and run their course to the west on the path which is shown to them.
John H. Walton has a Ph.D. from Hebrew Union College. He is professor of Old Testament at Wheaton College. Previously, he was professor of Old Testament at Moody Bible Institute in Chicago, Illinois. Professor Walton is the author of The Lost World of Genesis 1. The following is a reading from his book, and he is speaking of the Israelites who wrote the Old Testament.
They did not know that stars were suns. They did not know that the earth was spherical and moving through space. They did not know that the sun was much further away than the moon, or even further than the birds flying in the air. They believed that the sky was material, not vaporous, solid enough to support the residence of deity as well as to hold back waters. In these ways, and many others, they thought about the cosmos in much the same way that anyone in the ancient world thought, and not at all like anyone thinks today. And God did not think it important to revise their thinking.
There are several things that can be learned from Professor Walton's quote. 1, he confirms much of how the Bible describes the dynamics of the earth and heaven. 2, he states that most of the ancient peoples thought of heaven and earth in much the same way. And 3, by saying God did not think it important to revise their thinking, he is saying that God did not inspire any of their writings about the cosmos. So, when the author of Genesis 1 wrote, "And God said, Let there be a firmament, and God made the firmament, and God called the firmament heaven," God did not think it important to correct him. Who? Moses? And say, "No, Moses, I did not say that. I did not make a firmament, and I did not call it heaven." So if God let these primitive people record their ignorance about the world in his holy book, why would he not let them record their primitive ignorant superstitions about a talking snake? Genesis 3, verse 1. A global flood? Genesis 6 and 7. A talking donkey? Numbers 22, verses 21 through 30. Or Jonah, living 3 days inside a fish? Jonah 1, verse 17, and so forth. How can we believe the authors of any of the Bible when they say, "God said," "The Lord thy God says," "Thus saith the Lord," if God did not think it important to correct any of the false claims in Genesis 1, 2, and 3, where the author claims, "God said," or the author of Amos, who quotes God as saying,
I saw the Lord standing upon the altar, and he said, Though they dig into hell, thence shall mine hand take them. Though they climb up to heaven, thence will I bring them down.
Or the author of 1 Samuel, who quotes a prayer from Hannah.
For the pillars of the earth are the Lord's, and he hath set the world upon them.
These quotes of what God and Jesus said and did regarding the heavens and the earth are found throughout the Old and New Testaments. If both God and Jesus confirmed those misrepresentations by not denying them, then how can we call this God's Word? Based on the descriptions in the Bible, this is a depiction of how the cosmos would look.